All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the first general meeting for NSL 2021-2022, and glad you could all make it. I know it's not quite school year yet, and the handbook isn't out yet. I just wanted to get everyone together so we can meet up and just talk about a few simple things, maybe some questions, comments people might have, and just clear some stuff up. Wow. As for the agenda we have today, we're going to talk about what is NASA Student Launch. I know most of you already know. Just in case you have any questions, any onboard instructions we're going to be providing to you guys, stuff to do in the coming weeks as we prepare for the handbook to release. I'm going to go over a quick team overview, the timeline of the project you can expect, and then just some quick sub-team overviews, kind of like showing pictures and detailing what you can expect from your team, and then some quick closing statements. First of all, what is NASA Student Launch? NASA Student Launch is an 8-month commitment to design, build, and fly a payload and a launch vehicle. The mission changes from year to year, from rovers to landers to drones to dual separation, and along with that, NASA created this initiative to increase STEM engagement with high schools, colleges, middle schools, and elementary schools. So big part of NASA Student Launch is the outreach program. So outreach is mandatory if you want to continue, and you have to hit a certain number of students that you've engaged with and talk to them about rocketry and all things STEM, science, engineering, mathematics. What you can expect personally, you can expect to do a lot of designing, a lot of meetings, a lot of satellite report writing, a lot of good times, a lot of testing. We're going to build a subscale and a full scale. So you can expect at least 3 launches, 1 for the subscale, 1 for the full scale test launch, and 1 for the actual competition launch. There might be more. Last year, we launched 5 times. So hopefully we don't have to launch 5 times, but it is a possibility. And, things happen, problems will come up. You will have to troubleshoot. But ultimately, when things work finally, it's a great time, right? We're going to be documenting the entire process along with reports that we deliver to NASA. We will also be presenting, and we will also be, having a good time. And hopefully, really, really hopefully, we can win, because we're trying to beat Vanderbilt. They've won now, I think, 7 out of the last 8 years. So they won last year, and while we did place in the top 10 last year, we're trying to come in and be like that dark horse, So we're trying to win, hopefully. That would be great. I know there are a couple cash prizes if you do win. So, maybe we can win, get some cash prizes, throw a giant party for the team. That'd be great. As for onboard instructions, I'm gonna pass this on to Alex, my deputy.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Alex Johnson. I'm going to be the team deputy for the next 2 semesters. So just for some quick instructions, if any of you guys are claiming senior project credit, let either Nathan or myself know, so we can let Dr. Edberg know, so he gets you in the class, gets you the CRN numbers and all that good stuff. The Discord, if you guys have not joined yet, please do so. That's where all of the main information is going to be posted, all the updates, reminders, links, and all the good stuff like that. It's going to be in the Discord, so please join if you haven't already. Join Umbra, please. It's like, I think it's only a $25 fee. You guys, it's a really good opportunity to like further your involvement in rocketry and all that kind of good stuff. Please send your bio, a short bio and a picture, so we can have all of you guys showing pretty on our NSL website. Please do it as quick as possible. We don't want to delay that for our website, because a lot of people look at that, especially when they want to make donations. Do your research. I know right now it's not a lot, there's nothing to go off of. And I know last year when I was in your guys' position, I didn't know a lot. So feel free to look at the legacy documents that we're going to be posting. Do research on the sub team that you're in, specifically. There are tons of rocket forms that you can look at. There's so many articles and information sources that you guys can look at to do some research, just preliminary stuff, so you have an idea of what's going to happen and how things are going to go down. Next, our travel survey. So hopefully all of you guys know that we travel to Huntsville, Alabama at the end of the 8 months for our competition launch to see who gets to win. We didn't get to go last year due to COVID, so we're really excited to go this year. So please fill out the survey so we can get a head count on who's coming, who's not, and who's going to drive and such. Also, last thing, there's an Excel sheet in the Google Drive for your availability for this semester. So fill it out when you guys are available so your team leads can figure out what's the best time to meet and when you guys can get all that stuff done. Now I'm gonna hand you off to Andre. Anthony, sorry.
Thanks,
Andre was right next to me.
Hey guys, so I'm Anthony, I'm the systems lead. Here's our team. So we consist of Nathan, our project manager, Alex, our team deputy, Garrett, who sent his photo late, the launch vehicle lead. We've got myself, system engineering lead, Nicholas Hall at payload lead, Andre at payload integration, Joshua at structures, Boomy, or Bolmero, we all know him as Boomy, at analysis, Ashley at parachutes, John at avionics, and Angela as our outreach officer. And so I decided to put a Gantt chart together for us. This is based on last year's handbook, because the new one isn't out yet. So it's still really tentative. We don't know exactly the dates yet. We're hoping they don't release it on August 19th. We're hoping they release it a few days before the request for proposal. That way we can get working on it before we have to start stressing about school. But this is the general timeline that would be taken between the 2 semesters from our proposal to working on our post-launch assessment. I think it's back to Nathan.
Yep, and then these are the sub-team leads, as mentioned earlier by Anthony. We have Nick for payload, Andre for integration, Garrett as launch vehicle lead, Josh for structures, Boomy or Burumato for analysis, and then John for avionics, Ashley for parachutes, and Anthony for systems, and Angela's outreach. Now I'll pass it off to Nick. He'll give you a quick description of what you can expect on the payload team.
Hey guys, I'm Nick. I'm the payload team lead. What you can expect from the payload team is designing, building, and coding the payload for the launch vehicle. We don't know what our payload's going to be yet. Could be a drone, could be a rover, as Nathan was saying earlier. It depends on the specified requirements in the handbook, so we'll probably see within the next couple of weeks or month. We're going to be working very closely with other sub-teams for integration, especially the payload integration team. And what to expect more specifically, lots of trade studies, lots of 3D modeling, lots of 3D printing, lots of design iteration and testing, some coding and troubleshooting of that code, and documenting all of these above items.
And we'll go on to payload integration with Andre.
Okay, so for actual payload integration, this is the team responsible for actually integrating the payload into the system, which involves holding and actually releasing the payload within the rocket. So generally, we're responsible for like developing a computer, a microcontroller powered system using like electromechanics. And in order to do so, it involves a lot of preliminary designing and CADing. We do a lot of manufacturing, usually through 3D printing, coding, wiring, soldering, the whole thing. And then after we have the whole thing assembled, we'll do a lot of testing, and then we'll do a little more testing, inevitably like bang our heads against the wall because nothing works, and then do some more testing after that, and hopefully have a functional system. Like was said by Nicholas, we kind of work in really close conjunction with payload teams since they're designing the actual thing we're responsible for holding, but we also communicate with a lot of the other sub teams too. We're also responsible for documenting through text and schematics all of the stuff that we work on. And overall, the sub team's like a nice opportunity to work on a variety of skills and engineering tool belt. So with that, I'll go ahead and pass it off to Josh.
Hello, my name is Joshua Duque. I am the structures sub-team lead for the year, and we are responsible for the items listed here, which include designing a system architecture by comparing different orientations of subsystem within the launch vehicle. We will be deriving the dimensions for a launch vehicle with the minimum amount of space needed to contain the payload. We'll also be designing launch vehicle structures such as the motor mount, bulkheads, and coupler placements, etc. We will also be making many adjustments with the design as needed based on what the analysis team determines to be a failure. We'll be using SolidWorks to design the subscale and the full scale vehicle. We'll be making a FEA model of the full scale, and we are responsible for manufacturing everything. I will now pass this on to Garrett to cover analysis.
Ooh, since basically now you actually know what I can look like since my photo isn't inside of the
Amazing.
Yeah,
Amazing.
lighting's a little off, but yeah, my name is Garrett and I'm also the launch vehicle lead. I'll be going over the analysis slide for now. So yeah, basically to start with, analysis is responsible for the material selection via trade studies and just via what kind of needs that we're going to need for the actual system itself. Any hand stress analysis will also be done by the analysis team in order to confirm all FEA's SolidWorks models and such like that. The analysis team is also responsible for selecting the motor for the subscale as well as the full scale, as well as the scale that the subscale is going to be to the full scale. Trade studies on, as well as any aerodynamic analysis, selection of custom fins if need be, will all be done by the analysis team. The CG and CP locations will be done by the analysis team as well. And all of the RockSim and Open Rocket simulations will be done by the analysis team. And I'll be passing this off to the next slide.
This is John, our
Hello,
avionics lead.
everybody. My name is John, and I'm the avionics team lead. So for the avionics, we are responsible for selecting the recovery avionics specifically, which include the altimeters, which will be in charge of deploying our parachutes and such, and also giving us our recordings for our apogee, which is another requirement by NASA. And as well as the electronic tracking device is what NASA calls it in the handbook, and it's usually just a GPS that we use. And there is also some cameras that we'll need just to get some cool footage of our flights usually. And afterwards, or excuse me, the next important thing is collecting all the data, which the altimeters will give us a variety of info, like the terminal velocity when the main parachute deploys, as well as descent time, which is another requirement by NASA. And this is all just to verify that we're meeting the requirements that NASA has in place and what to expect. So expect to do a lot of research comparing different devices that are very similar, and like the altimeters as well as the GPS systems. Expect to design some stuff in SolidWorks to make some diagrams for the project to aid in displaying our ideas and programming and wiring these electronics. And then of course, testing them before flight and after flight to make sure they actually work still properly. And then just technical writing, which is one of the keys to this project because we have to document everything that we do. And now I'll be passing it over to Ashley for the parachutes subteam.
All right, hi everyone. My name is Ashley Perez. I'm the parachutes lead, and my team's going to be responsible for the second half of the launch, which is after apogee. So we're going to have to ensure safe recovery so that the rocket is reusable. We're also going to design and test the configuration of the parachute deployment and ejection methods by researching folding and packaging methods of parachutes. We're also going to have to determine the force required to eject the actual parachute and have to research which shear pins we're going to need to hold the parachute compartment together. And we'll also have to conduct some ejection charge testing. Our team's also going to calculate the approximate descent velocity, kinetic energy, and recovery time of the launch vehicle, which are going to be driven largely by the weight, size, and shape of the actual rocket and parachute. And my team is going to be working very closely alongside the avionics team, as well as the launch vehicle team. And so I'm going to be passing it on to Anthony.
All right, guys. So we talking about systems. So what we've got now on our plate is I'll have a meeting maybe sometime this week or in the next week, deciding who will be the liaison to other sub teams. So we are going to have each system team member, including myself, be a liaison to another team, essentially because we do have to validate and write out their testing, pretty much how they're going to test everything they do. So payload integration, all that stuff. NASA needs to know how we can validate that. and needs to know what they're doing. We also need to begin planning for proposal. There's a lot of stuff. It's a pretty big document. I'm going to upload some templates later to the drive. You can look over them. They're like the legacy documents and stuff. And then some prospective sponsors. So if you guys know any companies you're interning for, or companies you work for that would be interested in sponsoring us, that would be greatly appreciated. We already contacted Dr. Bhandari, and hopefully he can set us up something, maybe Lockheed Martin, some other company. And so then what to expect later on, we will be developing a verification matrix. That's when the handbook comes out. That's a huge thing. We'll always be referring to that for every single report we do, PDR, CDR, FRR, DLAR, everything. We need to conduct some trade studies on testing and different types of models of the rocket. Pretty much you're just helping out your sub teams every now and then, not that much. We need to aid and validate testing for each sub team. And we also need to, biggest one is develop system and derived requirements for each report. So PDR, CDR, all of those guys. And that's pretty much it. There's more stuff, but just for now, that's what we're doing.
Okay, sweet. And then for the outreach, as I mentioned earlier, outreach is a big part of the program. And basically we had to have direct engagement with K through 12 students, right? So this could be face-to-face, through video conference. I know last year we did a video conference. We provided them with model rockets that they could build and then shoot off. They were air powered, right? And then we'd also educate them and basically involve them more in STEM, because NASA knows that the younger generations are our future, and basically the sooner they can get involved with STEM activities and rocketry and things like that, the better off our country will be, in better hands, essentially, right? And our outreach officer, I'll be working closely with her to make sure that we meet the requirement, because we do have a requirement of at least 250 students. At least that was last year's. And that's a minimum requirement. There is a STEM engagement award for the team that reaches the most students, right? And also has the best activities. And so that would be nice to win. But as for now, we'll reach the minimum and we'll start planning something that we can involve a lot of students. I know I have a couple high schools and middle schools nearby me, so we can start there. If you guys know any other schools, you know, that you went to as a kid, contact professors that you may have known, see if they'd be interested in us giving a quick presentation. I think max of 20 minutes, and then it's like another 20-minute activity. So if you know anybody, have anything like that, please let me, Alex, or Anthony know. That'd be great. And then finally, our closing statements. If you guys have any questions after we're done with the presentation, you can go ahead and ask. I'll be here answering questions. We're still waiting on the request for proposal. Basically, the handbook isn't out yet. So until then, just keep doing research, you know. I know, as Alex mentioned earlier, when I was in this position last year, it was kind of like, I don't know what to do, but we will be providing the legacy documents, and then we'll also be providing you access to last year's Google Drive. And you can go ahead and look through all that. You can go ahead and see, get an idea of all the work, the reports, you know, and the stuff that has to get done. You can read through all of it if you want, although you might be there for a while, but that'd be also a great place to start. And then last but not least, senior project students. Students, as Alex mentioned earlier, if you're claiming senior project credit, please let me know. I made a list from when I was interviewing students, and I have sent that list off to Dr. Edberg already, right? I will provide you guys with that list. I'll post it in the senior project credit chat, so you guys can all see and make sure that I provided him with the correct information, to also see if I'm missing anybody. Let me know if you want to go ahead and ask me if I provided your name. I can tell you right now or not, but I provided that list to Dr. Edberg, and he's providing that list to Amy, and you should be receiving an email with a confirmation code and letting you know which EGR class to add. So if you have any questions, let me know. I've been in contact with Dr. Edberg. I've already contacted our mentor for the program, Rick. He said he'd be happy to come back, so that was great. Although he did have a pretty tough stipulation. He said that he wants us to be 100% ready before we show up to launch day. As Alex and Andre can attest, and Garrett, that is quite difficult because something always goes wrong and then you got to fix something. But he basically wants us to get there, put the motor in, put the black powder charges in, and then send the rocket out, full send, as you know, the last statement. But yeah, if you have any questions, this concludes the presentation. Any questions, any comments, any concerns, now's the time to ask.
I forgot what team it was, but they said that they'd be doing like FEA stuff. And if y'all like need help with that, like I really liked FEA, and I did some FEA work on the Avionics Bay last year. So just like feel free to like hit me up because I like that stuff.
This is true. Andre, Joseph did entire FEA analysis of the Avionics Bay. 3 million elements, right? Or something like that.
Bro, that was the one that failed. It took like 30 minutes and then my laptop just crashed.
But yeah, if you guys need any help, let me know. Boomy was in charge of parachutes last year. I know he's not here, but for anybody in recovery, Alex and Boomy were the 2 recovery leads last year. So if you need help with anything, let them know, let me know. I'll connect you with the right people, information, sources, stuff like that.
Yeah. Also, feel free to text us if you have any questions, like randomly during the week if you're working on something.
Yes, that also reminds me. We did set up on the Google Drive a team information sheet, so you can go there and look at your team members, have their emails and their phone numbers, right, that are provided, and so you can contact them, set up a schedule in the same folder. You should also find the team meeting. You know, just set up your weekly schedule. Basically say like I'm free from Monday from 5 to like 10 p.m. or something like that, you know, or I'm free, you know, Monday from 7 a.m. till like 3, and then I'm free again at 8, you know, and onward. And if you know busy on Saturday, like I work Saturday all day, blah blah blah, things like that. Please fill that out. I know me and Alex have filled it out already, just so you guys could have like examples. You can see what we mean. Another thing I was going to say was as for meeting. So most meetings as of right now, for my information provided by Dr. Edberg, will be held over Zoom. We will have slight access to campus. So I know Joseph mentioned there will be classes on campus. So we might have access to labs, but if we do, it will be a limited number of students because I know the school is still very concerned, and you know, so I will keep you guys updated if we have access to any of the structures lab, water tunnel lab, anything like that, right? So we can meet in person to make things easier. Although I do believe next semester things seem to be more lenient, and you know, second semester is where a lot of the major building gets done, and so hopefully we'll be meeting a lot in person there. And if not, we can do what we did last year, which was basically build day in people's garages, which was pretty fun, but not as nice because you know some people have to drive farther to get to a person's house. You know, CPP is pretty universally close to most people. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, let me know. If not,
Nathan, did you get like all the materials and stuff from last year? Like
you just reminded me. Yeah, so I have all the materials from last year. I have all the parachutes. I also have all any extra material, bulkheads, couplers.
Do you have the vacuum chamber, dude?
Yes, I have the vacuum chamber.
Okay.
Right. I also made a list and I sorted everything, and I will be uploading that list, right, to the team information so you can see what team should have what and about approximate numbers of how much, you know, we should have. And so I did organize a lot of stuff, and whenever I drop this off or give it to you guys, I would like to receive it back in the same condition I gave it to you, because it took me an entire day to organize everything, and it was a lot of stuff. So yeah.
Also, I have the entire AV bay from last year too, just so you know.
Yeah, I know, Garrett. You're supposed to give it to me, but you never did.
I know, but you're up the street. Or actually, I'm up the street from you. Yeah, no big deal.